Hello students, welcome to the Class 12 CBSE Computer Science with Python. Hope all are doing good. In our previous video, we have saw the objective type questions in MySQL part. So I have provided the link for part 1 and part 2 objective type questions in MySQL part in the description box below. If you have not watched that video yet, please go and learn from that link. Okay, and I have provided the video link for part 1 and part 2 interfacing Python with MySQL part, and today is our part 3 video on interfacing Python with MySQL. Okay, if you're watching my video for the first time, please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends also. Please like and share it, and if it is useful for you, then click onto the bell button so that you can get my notifications on time. Okay, so I have taught you. Come on, let us move on to the video. So I have taught you about the fetch all functions in the last class, and today we are going to learn all the functions, okay, one by one. So how to extract the data from the result set? What is meaning of that? We are extracting the data from the database. Okay, so our database we are working here is SQL database. We are extracting the data from the SQL database in the Python mode. We are using the Python program, and by using the Python program, we are using some commands and functions to extract the data from the database we have stored in the SQL software. Okay, come on, let us move on to the concept briefly. So the first kind of function is data is equal to cursor.fetchall, and the second one is data is equal to cursor.fetch1, and the third function is data is equal to cursor.fetchmany, and it has n as an argument, and the last type is not a function and it is a variable, that is ROWCOUNT. So you should write cursor.ROWCOUNT. So let me do all those functions practically. I'm opening my idle environment. Okay, so I'm going to import this MySQL connector so that the connection can be made with the database and the Python. Okay, so import MySQL.connector. You should import this library. After that, you should make the connection by using the connection object. I'm copying this MySQL.connector and pasting it here. After that, you should write the connect function line by line. So dot connect, and we have 4 parameters, that is host, I'm typing it, localhost, this is by default, and root is, and user is root. User is equal to root. Then after that, you are using your password while opening the SQL part. So I am writing 12345, which is my password for opening my SQL environment. Then the database we are going to work upon. So that is a database here. Today I am going to work upon employee database. So for that, I am tapping this employee database here. So for you, these 4 parameters are enough, and for my computer, I need another parameters, that is AUTH, authentication plugin. So if your computer is asking for any authentication error, then you can type this password. Okay. Native underscore password and closing the bracket. Okay, closing the bracket. So all the things will be in the quotation marks. See, all the things under the parameter should be written inside the single quotation marks or double quotation marks. Then now I am going to check whether the connection has been made successfully. I am checking whether connection object dot is connected or not. For that, I'm typing this command. If con dot is underscore connected, then it should print connection successful. Okay. Connection is successful. So let us execute it now. So after executing, it is coming like this: connection is successful. Okay. So now I'm taking out this. Okay. Now this is not needed. Now these two commands is just for checking whether the connection is made correctly or not. Okay. Now I'm going to call the cursor function. Okay. I'm going to call the cursor function by using this cursor connection object. Okay. For that, I'm typing connection object dot cursor function. So I'm calling this cursor function and storing it in the cursor object CUR. Okay. So calling the cursor function by using the connection object CON. This is your connection object CON. That is what I have written it here. Then that is stored in the cursor object. Okay. For your understanding, I am writing this is a cursor function is getting called. Okay. Cursor function is called. Cursor function is called. You can make a note of it. Then after that, we are using this cursor object to execute the data. So here we are writing the comments we are going to extract. For example, we can write select star from EMP. Okay, after writing this select star from EMP, this EMP is nothing but it is a table in the employee database. So now after that, we are using the fetch all function. Okay, FETCH, fetch all function. Okay, by using this fetch all function, we can able to fetch all the data under the employee database. Okay, emp table. So now we are going to call this fetch all function by using this cursor object. Okay, and storing that cursor object in the data, the variable data. So how I'm writing it here? So the fetch all function is called by using this cursor object CUR. Then after that, it is stored. All the data are stored in the data variable. So the next we are going to print the data. Okay, so let us execute that data now. So finally we have made it. So it has been what? It has been retrieving all the data from the EMP table. So we have noted that all the tables. So I'm going to use employee. To use any particular database, we are going to write the command use and database name. Okay. After that, you are going to write show tables command. So these are the tables which is available in the employee database. Now we have worked upon EMP table. For that, I am going to select star from EMP. So these are the records we have got it here. Okay, these are the records we have got in this Python shell prompt. So 102 Nisha FR5000 null and DNO. So this is your first record. Okay, each record is stored in the form of a tuple and it is enclosed within the list format. Okay, so now if you need to get an output in one by one, so line by line if you need means you can use this for loop. You can use the for loop here. So instead of this print data, I'm taking it out and write for I in data. Just write print I. Okay, so it will print all your data line by line like this. Okay, so each records will be in line by line format if you use the for loop method. So fetch all function returns all the records retrieved as per the query in the form of a tuple. Okay, the second function is fetch one function. Okay, so the fetch one function, before going to the fetch one function, I'm going to write this row count. If you need to know the row count, how many rows are there, for that you can write the print function after the for loop. Print total number of rows. Rows retrieved. Total number of rows retrieved is equal to, and stop the quotation marks and write CUR dot row count. Row count is a property. Okay, it is not a function. Just write cursor dot row count. Cursor object with row count and close the bracket. No need of any brackets like a function. So this is nothing but a row count is nothing but a variable. Okay. So now when operating this output, so the total number of rows retrieved is equal to 6. Record this row count as 6. We have 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay. So now let us move on to the fetch one function. So instead of writing here fetch all, just write fetch one. Okay. If you write this fetch one, here what happens means it will take only one row as a tuple. So it will print one record at a time. So it is in the for loop, so it is printing line by line. Suppose if it is not in the for loop, just write print data. Then what will happen? Then it will be printing only one row at a time. So what is the meaning for this fetch one? It will return one record from the result set as a tuple. First time it will fetch the first record and the next time it will fetch the second record. Suppose if I am trying to fetch the another record by copying and pasting it here. Okay, like I am copying and pasting all these things here now. The last 3 statements, copying and pasting it here. So now I am executing this program. So it is printing you the second line also. So and the total number of rows retrieved is 2. So it will count the number of rows retrieved from the first, but from the first time it is retrieving the first record, and when I am asking for the second fetch one function, then it is retrieving the second record. So that is the meaning for this function. Okay, if I try to copying and paste the same thing, then it will fetch the third record and the total number of rows retrieved is equal to 3. Okay, and then if you are not having any rows, to retrieve, then your output will be none. Okay, for example, we are having 6 rows here. I am pasting it 6 times. Okay, so now I am pasting it 6 times. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So total number of rows retrieved is 6. Now I am trying to fetch another record here. So what it is happening? It is giving the answer as none. If there is nothing to retrieve, then it will retrieve as none. Understand? So the main thing is it will return only one record as a tuple. Okay, and if we copy and paste the function fetch one, it will retrieve the rows one by one. If it is not having any rows, then it will retrieve one, none keyword. Hope you all understand this topic. So the next is fetchmany function. fetchmany function, it fetches the number of records in the form of tuple. Suppose if I am trying, okay, I will delete all these things now. So instead of fetch1 function, I am going to write fetchmany function. Okay. So data is equal to cursor.fetchmany. Print data and print the total number of rows retrieved is cursor.rowCount. So in fetchmany function, if you are not giving any arguments, so what it will happen? Just see the output of this. Let me show it up right away. So the fetchmany function, if I am not giving any argument, it is returning one record at a time. Okay. If I am giving the fetchmany of 2, if I am giving an argument here, then I am executing this fetchmany function. See the result, it is delivering the 2 records. This is your second record and up to this is your first record. So the total number of rows retrieved is 2. So whenever we are giving an argument, then it will retrieve that much records. Okay, so if I am copying again and pasting it, copy and pasting it here and writing again fetch 2. Okay, now I am going to write fetchmany 3 arguments. I am giving the argument 3 here. So first it will fetch 2 records. After that it will fetch the next 3 records. Okay. So first it is getting the first 2 records. Right. So after that it is retrieving the next 3 records. So totally the 5 records are retrieved. So the remaining 1 rows is there, right? So for that again I am copying and pasting. In that I am giving fetch1 function. Okay, fetch1 without any argument inside. So it will fetch only 1 row at a time. So the remaining row is getting retrieved here by using the fetch1 function. So the total number of rows retrieved here is 6. Okay, when I am giving fetchmany of 2, then it is retrieving the 2 records. Okay, so after that I am giving fetchmany as 3, then it is retrieving the 3 records at a time. So after 2 fetchmany functions, I have given fetch1 function without any argument. So the role of fetch1 function is returning only 1 row at a time. So it will retrieve the remaining row. Okay, it will retrieve the remaining row which is not yet retrieved. That is what it is here in this. So the last record which you have returned is what? It is from the fetch1 function. Okay. So the next is, if you are not having any data to retrieve, what will happen? The fetchmany function will retrieve an empty list. Okay. Suppose if I am trying to write fetchmany of 2 again in the last and I am trying to execute. So it is giving you an empty list. Okay, so all the rows are retrieved till here and total number of rows retrieved is 6k, and after that again another fetchmany function is called. Then what will happen? If there is no rows to retrieve, then it will return you an empty list. Okay, the important point, we should note it up. So if you are not having any records to retrieve, the fetch1 function will return none, but fetchmany function will return an empty list. Okay, so but if we write fetch1 function after we write fetchmany function, it will retrieve the next 1 record from the table. Just write like this. Okay, so the data is equal to cursor.fetchmany of n. This method will be fetching n records in the form of a tuple. Understand? So the next function is variable. So the variable is equal to cursor.ROWCOUNT. This is a property of a cursor that returns the number of rows retrieved. Okay, that is what we have done it here. in all the print function cursor.rowCount. Okay, hope you all understand the video. So in this video we have learned all the functions fetch1, fetchmany and fetchall functions, including the variable ROWCOUNT. Hope you all understand this video. Study well. All the best. And I will see you on the next video. So your next video is on parameterized query. Okay. Thank you.